Hello everyone and welcome to the Cherry Heart podcast. I'm Sandra and this is episode 113. And this is also a crafty podcast featuring crochet and knitting and sewing in the main. You will find the show notes for this podcast on my blog, which is cherryheart.co.uk, and I'll also drop a link in the down bar below. You'll be able to navigate this video using the video chapters. Again, the timestamps for each section, each thing I talk about, are listed in the down bar below, or you can just pop your mouse on the bottom of the screen and skip to the little segments that way. You will also find me elsewhere. Oh no, you'll find me on Instagram as Sandra Cherry HRT. That's where I'm most usually found, and then elsewhere around the web I'm Cherry Heart. So hello, how are you? How are you doing? I hope you're well. I am all right. If you're regular and you watched the last one, just a few health issues going on at the moment for me. I'm not going to go into all that rubbish again, but just to let you know that things are ticking along and I'm sort of managing okay. So for the moment, all is all right, and yeah, progress is being made, so that's good. So hopefully we'll start to see some action soon. And if you're new, that means nothing to you, but thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy it. I just sat down to podcast and I realised I haven't put my slap on. If you are not UK based and that doesn't make any sense to you, slap is what we call makeup over here sometimes. It's a slang term for makeup. Yeah, so I haven't put my face on, and that's kind of unthinkable for me. I don't think I've ever podcasted without the face paint on. So, but I've made the rather reckless decision to just go ahead anyway. For once in my life, I'm not looking too horrendous, I felt. Not too many spots. Minor miracle. So I'm just going for it. I'm going to capture it and put it on the internet for everyone to see. Probably not my best decision, but hey ho, let's just go with it. Let's start talking about crafty bits and bobs. So finished items first. He's grumbling. Him, Bert, is sitting in his bed, grumbling. No, don't come out just because I mentioned your name. Yes, you're a good boy. Go sit down then. Go sit down. Let's go. So, finished objects. This is my first finished objects. Things I have made are my birthday mitts, I'm going to call them. I make these style of mitts quite often. They just take one skein of, or one hank of beautiful hand-dyed yarn, 100 grams in DK, and I have got some left over actually, but I felt that these had got long enough. Yeah, I quite often make a set of these either for someone else or to sort of go with a new coat or something, and these are to go with a new coat. Should have brought that to show you, but I didn't. There's a picture on Instagram if you really want to know, but it's a pink coat. And it's got a lovely, pretty sort of floral lining with leaves and flowers in these similar sort of colours. So I thought this would be the perfect yarn to use with it. And it's a rather treasured one of mine. It's a West Green Lofts yarn. And it's called, the name of it is Urban Glitter, which I thought it was going to be something about rose garden or something, because I thought that's what it looked like, and you know, that's how it kind of related to my project being, you know, the lining of the coat. But actually it's called Urban Glitter, which is kind of a cool name. I'm holding them up nice and close so you can see all those lovely little garter stitch bumps of colour. So they were fun to knit. So yeah, they're very simple. I knit them on straight needles, back and forth, so I can just literally knit back and forth in rows, and it's the easiest project in the world. So I cast on 46 stitches, I think it was, and I just did a little bit of rib at the bottom, garter, 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 a little bit of rib at the top, and then I just use mattress stitch to seam them up at the back. So I could have made them in the round, but then I'd have to purl every other row to get the same garter stitch effect. Well, I didn't want that, so I'd rather seam than purl. So now I have shown you those, they will go with my pink jacket, and I will wear them and keep nice and snug and warm now the weather is cold. So yes, very gratifying, very quick, lovely. And then another quite quickie project, I made these, must have been more or less straight after my last podcast because it was earlier in January. Last year I made some snowflakes, not with sort of thread cotton, which is what the pattern calls for, but with a thicker yarn, and I kind of use them like as coasters under candles and things. And I went to get them out this year because once I take down the Christmas decorations it feels quite barren and bare about the place. So I like to sort of leave something, some sort of decorative element in. But I figured snowflakes are winter, they're not just Christmas, are they? They're wintry, so I can use those. So anyway, I couldn't find the ones I made last year. Well, I found one, but I don't know what I've done with the others. I think they've got caught up in the Christmas decorations. So I made more, that is the point. So this one, these are all by Julia Hart, who is on Instagram as well. I'll put that here. I think it's Draguna, but I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. But you can find her there. Yeah, so she makes these and she is amazing. She makes crocheted doilies and snowflakes and bookmarks and things. And she does it all with crochet thread, and they're so beautiful and intricate. And just, it's amazing work. I've used her patterns before for snowflakes and doilies and things, and they're really lovely to make because it's sort of a bit of a little adventure, because you can't really see how you're going to get to the finished object. You sort of just, you know, you start following in it. You're like, oh, how's this gonna look like this? You know, how's that going to come out like that then? And as you do each little bit, you can see it all start to come together, and you just end up with this amazing thing. She's ever so clever, and her patterns are very, very detailed. She does a written pattern for most of them anyway, written pattern, photo tutorial. She's got charts with the photos as well, so everything is step by step. And she even sort of includes, like, you know, you could do this here if you wanted to, or leave it out if, you know, it's not important, sort of thing. So she's ever so good. Anyway, you're going to want to know what these patterns are, and I can't remember. I do know this is her new one that just came out this December just gone, this Christmas. I think it's called Frostera or something like that. Again, I'll put the names here. I'll pop it in show notes, but I'll flag them up on here for you. So that's the latest one. Just so pretty. That middle is so pretty. Love it. That one. Then there's this one. Again, if you go onto her blog, she has some of these free, and some of them are patterns you can pay for. But if you look on Ravelry or something where she has all her patterns, yeah, you can see all these gorgeous different snowflakes to choose from. So there's this one, which I cannot remember the name of, so I shall pop that up on the side there. So that one's a bit bigger. And then last of all, I've got this gorgeous one. Oh, look at it, it's so pretty. Again, I'll pop the name up. I think this one might be the inscribed snowflake, but it might not. But yeah, I'm not usually a fan of the sort of front post and back post type stitches, just because they're a little bit more of a pain to do. But Julia uses them a lot, and they are so effective in these. That's the back where all the worked round sort of front posts and things. Anyway, amazing. I love these. So yes, I've replaced these, and I think these ones are a bit bigger than last year, so these are a little bit more useful for sort of just popping little candles and plates and things on, which is what I use them for, or popping them on my fireplace. The yarn I use for this is sheep ears stone washed in some sort of cream. Rose, it might even be called, oh no, moonstone I think it is. Just because, purely because I happen to have it left over from my painted Anemones blanket, and it was kind of just beside me, so I thought I will use that. I normally use a cotton or something, and this has got cotton in it, quite a high cotton content, so it's fine to use, but it has got some acrylic too to give it that kind of fluffiness. But I've been using them with relatively warm things on and they've been fine. I don't think you could put a hot pan on them, but you know, for something that's just going to get pretty warm, I think they're fine. So yeah, loving those, very happy about those too. I've got another finished item. I've been doing quickie things. Obviously I need the satisfaction of the quick fix. So the next one is a sewing project. So I've made some cushions. Let's see if I can show you them both. Are they both in? There we go. There we are. There they both are. So these are for my bedroom, which is due for an update. I was meaning to do it before Christmas, and then I got my backache, and then, you know, blah blah blah, health issues. So I haven't got around to actually decorating the bedroom yet, but the new bed that we ordered did come just before Christmas, so that was good. So that's all in there, and I've got some bedding as well. So we had two sort of mismatched cushions in there. One was quite a bright and colourful crochet cushion, and one was an old, I think, Laura Ashley cushion, but in completely different colours, and it's got quite manky, to be honest with you. So yeah, I wanted something so we would have nice coordinated cushions, and that would go with the new colour scheme, which I thought was just going to be sort of grey and peachy, as you see here. I actually saw some bedding I really liked in a very pale blue, so I'm wondering if I could get away with bringing a bit of blue in as well. I think with the grey I could kind of pull that off. So if I'd known that at the time, I would have put it in these cushions, but I didn't. But I think it will still work. Could have made a different colour on the other side if I'd known, couldn't I? That would have been good. Anyway, bygones. Yeah, so all of this fabric is just stuff I had in stash, and yeah, I just pulled out anything that I thought would sort of go vaguely with the kind of colours I'm using in there, and that's it really. I've got some, have I got any salvaged bits? Yeah, this is an old bed cover that I got from my nan, I think. This is a bit of shirt, hubby's shirts. I always pilfer his work shirts or any of his other, like, you know, leisure, casual, that's the word, casual shirts or anything. When he gets rid of them, I'm always like, oh, let's see what you're getting rid of, because I might want to snaffle the fabric off of it. So yeah, that one is, and also this edging is as well. So it's only sort of shirt cotton, so it's a little thin to use for something like this, really. But the binding, I didn't have any other options that I had enough fabric of that would work at all apart from this sort of salvaged shirt fabric, so I just went with that. Any salvaged ones on here? Yeah, there's the shirt fabric again, and there's the bedding fabric again. I think all the others are just purchased at some point or another. So yeah, just did a very simple sort of envelope back. And yes, it was good to actually complete a sewing project, because although there's so many projects I want to sew and keep meaning to sew, I don't actually get around to many of them. And I think I've been thinking about making these cushions for about a year. You know, I get there in the end, I guess. So patterns. the only one I keep harping on about, that I'm going to harp on about again, is my painted Anemones blanket. You've seen this before, I know. I keep finding a reason to mention it again, don't I? I'm sorry about that. The only reason I'm mentioning it this time again is because the pattern is up now. Well, the pattern's been up for a little while, so it's been available to buy, but it had temporary photos in it because I had my sample pieces as the photo, and I didn't have a photo of this finished blanket in all of its lovely rainbowy coloured glory. But now I've finished it, I've got some pictures taken, and I've added those to the pattern. So I've updated the pattern, and that's on Ravelry now. So if you bought it with the temporary photos, you can just pop into your Ravelry library and get the updated version if you would like that. And if you've been hanging on to buy it, hanging on for those photos to actually arrive before you wanted to buy it, then they're there now. You can go for it. Yes, you can sort of see it as it is meant to be in the pattern, which is handy, isn't it? And then the other piece of information about that is I've also put the pattern, now it's finalised, I've started putting it on other platforms. So I've got it up on Love Crafts. Just had a little message come through. I've popped it up on Love Crafts just to give you an alternative to Ravelry, because I've had a couple of people contact me and say that PayPal wouldn't let them pay by credit card. Now, I have had this very occasionally before, and the first person that said it to me, I was really quite confused by it. I was like, you're just not looking at the button where it is, you know, it's there. You just, you know, thinking that they must have just missed it. And but then she sent me like a screenshot of what she was seeing. I was like, oh yeah, your button is literally missing. I don't know what to say about that. Anyway, after some investigation, it transpired that PayPal just do that. I think especially if you don't have an account with them. So normally, even if you don't have an account with them, you can just choose to check out via credit card and they'll process it for you. But for some reason, in some circumstances, they don't offer that option. And I'm not entirely sure why. I don't think they tell us why. I looked, the closest I could find on their help was that it's sometimes something to do with the country the customer's in, and sometimes down to other factors, whatever that is. So very vague and unhelpful. So basically, if you've ever been on PayPal and you've wanted to use the credit card and you can't find that option, it might be that PayPal literally isn't giving you that option and you can't get it by PayPal. It'll probably let you if you had an account, but not everyone wants to get a PayPal account. So yeah. And the reason I'm telling you all that is if you go to Love Crafts, so if you've had that problem, try to buy it through Ravelry, because all Ravelry purchases do go through PayPal. If you go to Love Crafts, they only accept credit cards. So they, oh well, I think you could probably check out by PayPal on there, but they definitely have on their site, separate from PayPal, their own credit card processing system. So you can definitely pay by credit card on there. So that's why I'm mentioning that. So yes, if the link will be in my show notes, but if you go to my page on my blog, you know, my Painted Anemones page, I've got both the links in there, so you can just choose whether you want to go to Ravelry or whether you want to go to Love Crafts. And hopefully at some point I will get Etsy on there as well. But yeah, that's slightly more difficult because it requires quite a bit more admin when patterns go onto Etsy. So I'm going to delay that for a while until I'm sort of a bit more back to my usual self. So that's my excuse for bringing this one out again. And so the last thing to talk about is my whip. What I'm making now, which I did show last time, so I'll just show you the progress. It's been a reasonable amount of progress, I'm glad to say. Let's hold the needles so they don't clatter and bang. So I think when I spoke to you last, I'd probably done about that much. 4 or maybe 5 or 6. And I had some sort of issue with the colour order, I think, or some... Oh, that was it. Yes, this end bit. So because it goes garter stitch, lace, garter, lace, garter, lace, you obviously end with the garter stitch. And I was just saying, if I start a colour with the garter, then do the lace, I wouldn't have enough in one of my skeins to do the final garter as well. So I'll have to do that last bit of garter with the last skein and just not use any more of it. And the last colours I really liked, so I wanted to use all of them. So what I should have done is just started from the other end of the colours and worked back, but I hadn't. So I ripped back, and I still didn't start with the other end of the colours. I ripped back and I restarted this end, but what I did was those garter stitch rows, those very beginning ones, are actually done in a different colour. So it's the colour that would have gone in between this one and this one. But as you can see, it's really quite dark. And to be honest, I find this orange and this brown, the transition between them, it's a little bit jarring because some of the others sort of fade in quite nicely. But yeah, so I thought I can oink that out of there. I can restart using this for those few garter rows, and then I shall go on to colour row, the next colours, and I can just do my lace rows and garter, and then I will end with a whole lace row and garter for the last skein, which is what I wanted because I like that colour more. Does that make any sense whatsoever? In other words, I've been long-winded and made more work for myself when, if I'd actually thought about it a little bit beforehand, it would have been a lot quicker and easier all round. But that is rather the story of my life, really. Anyway, so I restarted and I rejigged that colour, and now I've continued on from that point. I think I had these colours in an ever so slightly different order. I'm pretty sure this one is supposed to go between these two, and I've moved it down to here to make this more of a sort of gradual. I thought that went into that better than sort of having a light one, a medium one, then another light one, then another medium one. So yeah, so that goes to there. That one I'm not entirely happy with because it's quite a sudden change. But then we go into the... Come here, you devil. Then we go into the browns, which go into each other quite nicely, and then finally I'm now getting to the blues. So I've done quite a bit now. Can't get it all on, can I? There we are, there it all is. And I have got 4 more colours to go. So that one, and that one, and that one will be the last. So that's all I've got to go. And I've actually missed out 2 colours. So this one kind of went in the middle of the browns. Oh no, batteries run out. Problems. Right, we're back. Not sure I've got exactly the same setup as before. It always changes slightly, but anyway. So what was I saying? I was saying, yes, I've missed that one out because it came in the kind of middle of the brown somewhere. And I thought the sort of pink, sort of, I don't know, it looked a bit weirdly out of place in the middle of all the other browns. So I've left that one out. It might have looked fine, but I've just made the decision to leave it out. Plus it's very, very pretty, and I think I could use it nicely somewhere else. And then I'm also leaving out this one because I've got these 2 in it, and I feel like these are all very, very similar. Very similar to that one. So yeah, I felt like maybe one of those had to go. That one's definitely darker, so I've kept that one in. But I felt like these 2 were really similar, so I kind of just dropped one. Yeah, I don't know if that's right, but that's what I'm going for, so that's what I'm doing. So yeah, so 4 more to pop in, and that will be done. So hopefully get that finished quite soon. Yeah, that's it really. that's all I've got on the go at the moment. Oh, well, I am sewing up my little, well, my quite big actually, Liberty hexagons for my flower quilt, my flower garden quilt, but I haven't got very far on them yet, so hopefully I'll have them to show you next time, or at least something of them to show you next time. At the moment they're still mostly in bits. So I think that's it from me then, and yeah, I shall hope to see you next time, and I hope you get some lovely, quiet crafting moments until we meet again. Okay, bye! Go sit down! Go sit! Just waited 2 hours for you to sit.